Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory be to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And I want to say double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And blessings to the hopeful elect out there listening and learning, teaching this word in sincerity and truth, in the hopes that we may edify and feed the lambs of Yahweh Shai, especially in these last days. And, this is going to be another video going into this situation over there in Istanbul. Okay. Which used to be known as Constantinople, if I'm not mistaken. Constant. Yep, yep, that's right. It says the city of Constantinople was officially renamed Istanbul in 1930. This name change was a part of border reforms undertaken by the Turkish government after the establishment of the Republic of Turkey in 1923. The new name Istanbul was a Turkishized version of a Greek phrase meaning in the city. And the reason why I'm bringing up the fact that it's no longer called Constantinople is because Constantinople goes back to the time when we ruled, okay, during the Dark Ages, because you had the line of the Constantines, but then you also had the Ottoman Turks. You had Mehmet II who sacked, you know, around this time period, 1453, right? I believe it was Mehmet II, right? It says in 1453, Constantinople was renamed Istanbul by the Ottoman Empire, which are Edomites, after they conquered the city. All right, so they conquered the city of Constantinople, and Constantinople was a part of the Byzantine Empire. Okay, which if you know anything about Byzantine Empire, that was when we ruled. Okay, when I say we, I'm talking about the Israelites. You know, and they called it the Dark Ages. All right, but this is leading up to the Renaissance. The Renaissance period where you saw the so-called white man coming back into power. All right, going all the way back here as well with the Ottoman Turks. All right, the Europeans, the Spanish, you know, the Dutch, the English, you name it. Okay, which we was ruling in these lands all throughout Europe. Okay, it says in 1453, Byzantine Empire came to an end with the fall of its capital, Constantinople, to the Ottoman Empire under Sultan Mehmet II. Yeah, there you go, Mehmet II. All right, but here we go. Fast forward now to 2025, so called. You got over there in Istanbul. Now you got magnitude 6.2 quake striking off the coast of Istanbul. All right. Which let me get you a precept here because I want to read this. All right, because I made a statement about the Renaissance. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Revelation chapter 20, verse verse 3. It says, and cast him. In fact, let me start from 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit, right, and a great chain in his hand. Bottomless pit represents Europe. Okay, it says, and he laid a hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, right, and bound him 1,000 years. So this 1,000 years he was bound for, was when which they call the so-called Dark Ages, were when we were ruling. The Byzantine Empire, so on and so forth, Anglo-Saxons, the Vikings. That's a part of our history, but they want to call it the Dark Ages because they don't even actually want to admit that we was actually ruling all throughout Europe. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And when was that fulfilled? All right, it was when the Renaissance, which you had around this time period, 1453. And I think it was Constantine the 11th that was in Constantinople by this time. Was it Constantine in the 11th? Yeah, there you go. All right, Constantine the 11th, right, was the last Byzantine emperor reigning from 1449 until his death. Okay, in battle at the fall of Constantinople in 1453, and this is all set up through the Spirit. All right, because this is now when you're reading about the Renaissance period. Okay, it says, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Right, because he was loosed. All right, until the 1,000 years were fulfilled. All right, the 1,000 years, the so-called Dark Ages, and after that he must be loosed a little season. And what we're living in now is that little season. So Esau, pretty much he's at the end of his rulership. He's living on borrowed time. Okay, and that's why you're seeing the downfall of America now, is because that little season is about to come to an end. Despite the fact that the scripture says in Psalms 49 and 11 that their inward thought is at their houses. Let me read it, right? Excuse me. It says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. Yeah, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, man. Alright, and their dwelling place to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So this is Esau's inward thought, is that their houses shall continue forever. But that's not so. Because we know according to Job 20, when he's about to fill his belly through this new world order, through implanting the people with a chip, okay, that the Most High is going to stop him. Okay, Job chapter 20 verse 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked, which that word wicked there means laborer, goes back to the Hebrew word aimal, right, shall come upon him. When he's about to fill his belly, the Most High Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So this man's about to, he's about to be in a world of hurting. Okay, so yeah, that's just a little bit of history, which I like to go into, or I like to ponder on from time to time, because this is biblical history right here. This is the Dark Ages, and then this little season that we're in now, where Esau's kingdom is coming to an end. The Renaissance, which the word Renaissance means rebirth. And what did they do? You got something called Renaissance art, where they, pretty much painted or whitewashed the dark images. Okay, Renaissance art. Okay, Renaissance art. Okay, roughly spanning the 14th to the 17th centuries, marked a period of artistic innovation and revival of classic styles and ideas, particularly in Italy. Okay, and why does it say particularly in Italy? Because who was over there? The Pope. You had Rodrigo Borgia. All right, you had them dirty ass cardinals over there, and them dodgy popes over there, and pretty much Rodrigo Borgia, who we believe coming back in the reincarnation of the Rothschilds today, you know, um, known as the first crime family. All right, so this is all about Renaissance, the rebirth. That Renaissance art is nothing, is all done by design. They painted over the dark images. All right, and the scriptures go into that in Job 9:24, and also First Maccabees 3:48. All right, scriptures speak about that. All right, First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right, and this is what they did through that Renaissance art. All right, let's see if we can get some images here. Yeah, all of this. This is all Renaissance art, man. You know, putting up Yahweh Shai, the so-called Last Supper. Yahweh Shai as a so-called white man, and his 12 as white men. All right, the Most High, as a so-called white man. You got the in the 16th chapel, the finger of God. That's a part of Renaissance art. All right, that was painted by was it Michelangelo? And you got the Most High in a pink tunic. And this is what these devils do, man. And that's how the scripture says that the spirit that's lifted up is not upright in him. You got a naked man with his rod out. All right, but this is what Esau's all about. That's that Renaissance art, man. All right, who painted it? All right, yeah, Michelangelo, the finger of God. All right, the creation of Adam, in which he painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Specifically, it showed God's hand reaching out towards Adam's, almost touching, symbolizing the creation of life, and they put them up as so-called white men. But you see, the truth is coming out, man. All right, and this is why, man, they're getting jacked up. Okay, and this ain't the last earthquake that we're gonna hear about, because you even had an earthquake in Turkey not too long ago. Okay, that took the lives of like thousands of people, man. Look at this one. Where was it? See that, because obviously 2 years ago there was one 2 years ago. Remember that one? The Turkey Syria earthquake, buildings crumble. Turkey Syria earthquake. Let me see what the death toll was. Okay, and I hope the sound is picking up better this time, because the last video I just did, Satan was messing with the mic. All right, the sound was really really low, and that never happens with my mic. I've actually got an actual mic attached to my laptop, which usually picks up the sound pretty clear. But for some reason, Satan was messing with the sound. So Lord willing, this one picks up better. Turkey Syria earthquake death toll. Overall impact: at least 56,683 people were killed. All right, 50,000 plus in Turkey, and at least 5,900 in Syria, making it the deadliest earthquake globally since Haiti in 2010. So this is not a coincidence. The fact that Turkey is being hit up, man. Because again, going back to that Renaissance, going back to the fall of, Constantinople, which they renamed Istanbul. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord is actually targeting that place. So we can't ignore this. This is the signs of the times. And not only can we ignore it, all right, because of the great calamities, but because of biblical prophecy, for the sake of biblical prophecy. Because what did Yahweh Shai say? All right, let's get Matthew 24 and 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right? So the Lord said, look, when you hear about these wars and rumors of wars, the end is not yet. All these things must come to pass, right? And we're hearing of wars and rumors of wars. We're hearing about skirmishes, starting with, bombs about to be dropped on Iran by the US. All right, and Russia coming to Iran's aid, the Persians, the chief prince coming to the aid of the Persians, which are the Iranians. Okay, you got wars in Ukraine at the moment, Russia. You got wars over there, Israel and Palestine. All right, strangers fighting over our land and our presence. We got these prophecies coming to pass. This is for nations shall rise. The Lord said He will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. Right, so that's what you see happening over there in the so-called Middle East. Wars and rumors of wars, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences. You got this new virus now, this new STD virus, where you lay down with a woman, you might get a flesh-eating virus. STDs, that's a pestilence. Famines, food shortages. They're talking about, I just did a video where the sound was low, talking about these tariffs being slapped down on the table by Trump, are causing food price increases, man, and food shortages, or about to, at an alarming rate. Right? The American consumers are gonna suffer and are suffering, and earthquakes in diverse places. So this is an earthquake right here. All right, this is an actual earthquake right here. Right? Fair use, fair use. I'm not making any money from this. From Al Jazeera English, this is purely for educational purposes. Fair use, fair use. I repeat, I'm not making any money from this. I'm just going to show you a bit of this clip here.
Some breaking news now. A powerful 6.2 magnitude earthquake has hit off Istanbul's coast. There are reports of several aftershocks also hitting the area.
See that? You see how they all scurrying like rats, man? And you know what, man? This is what I'm saying. When the scripture says, in a day of prosperity, there's a forgetfulness of affliction. But you see, when the king of terror starts opening up on people, whether it's man-made or not, because the Most High is controlling the wicked through His technology, making him do what he needs to do. But also, there are natural earthquakes that the Lord gets down with too. Whether they are natural or unnatural, hey, it's all the king of terrors. It all goes back to the orders of the throne, right? And what I mean by that is the Most High. He puts the order out to make things happen. Right? The scriptures tell you about the spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury they lay on sore strokes. But the point is, these people sitting down enjoying their tea or whatever, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they're just running out of the cafe, man. You see, you could say peace and safety all you want, but the Lord is gonna start terrorizing people out here.
We're going to cross now to Melika Yildiz. She joins me now from Istanbul on the phone. Mel, first of all,
Yeah, and they all look hopeless. Look at him standing with his hands on his waist. Don't know what to do, don't know where to look. You know what I'm saying? But when these things happen, that's when people start to consider, hold on a minute, what the fuck's going on here? You know what I'm saying? All right. Hey, the Lord said, from the Lord, from the issues of death, belong to the Lord, right? Get Psalms 45 and 7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, right? Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, do all these things. So it's the Lord that creates, bad times. It's the Lord that forms the light and creates darkness. You know? He's the one that does all these things. Alright, let me get you another one. Let me get Deuteronomy 32 and, or was it 33? 32 and 39. Alright, it says, see now that even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands. So you see them, like we were pulling up the Turkey, Syria earthquake death toll. All these people, man, the Lord said, look, I did that. Okay? The Lord did that. Alright? So this is what you gotta understand. Okay? So it says, see now that even I am he, there is no power with me, no God with me. I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So this is the power that we serve and fear, man. Alright? And these people are gonna learn to fear. Because the Lord, pretty much, remember that the Lord said, once more will I rise to shake the earth. Okay? Let me get that scripture. And especially, when the nuclear missiles hit and the earth is gonna reel to and fro like a drunkard, man. Okay? That's gonna be crazy. Haggai 2 and 6. Let's see if it's in that one. Haggai 2 and 6. Yeah, Haggai chapter 2 verse 6, it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, right? Which the Lord of the hosts goes back to the Lord of the armies. It says, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. You see that? So the Lord said he's going to shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. You best believe we're coming to a time like no other since there was a nation, especially when these missiles hit. The Lord said he's going to shake the earth. All right, that's it. You can also find that precept in Isaiah 24 as well and 19. The Lord said, in fact, let's get it. All right, so these 6.2 magnitude earthquakes, these 7.0s, all this ain't nothing in comparison to what's coming. Right? Isaiah 24 and 19, it says, the earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly, the earth shall roll to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Alright, so when the Lord gets down, the whole earth is going to shake, and that's going to serve to magnify the name of the Lord, man. As outlined in Ezekiel, I want to say 36. So all of this is going to serve to magnify the name of the Lord. Because, when all hell breaks loose, that's when people are standing around wondering about the plans that they thought they were going to live out. Or they thought that they had. Because when you're in a very real situation like this, all those plans go out the window when you're in fight and flight mode. And all you can think about is safety. So this is an example of sudden destruction.
Can you just give us a sense of what it felt like when it hit and what damage, if any, it has done?
Hey Tom, well, I was in a coffee shop, and
In the coffee shop. See, 1 minute you're in a coffee shop ordering your flat white, your latte or whatever. Almond milk or whatever it is. Do you have oats milk? Then all of a sudden, everything starts shaking, falling off counters. You know what I'm saying? TVs getting, jumping off walls, all kinds of stuff. Things getting smashed up, buildings collapsing on people, people trapped under rubble, people working 24/7, emergency crews working 24/7 to get children, women, men, grown ass men, pull them out of collapsed buildings, dragging them over cracked glass and sharp rocks and that. This is what the Lord can do. It's what I'm saying. People take things for granted, but at any time everything can change, right? Everything can change.
I kind of felt like I was moving, but I wasn't too sure. So by the time I kind of realised, the person next to me said, "This is an earthquake," out loud, and then we all looked around us and realised that the coffee shop was actually moving side to side. And
Did you hear what she said? The coffee shop was moving side to side. Didn't we just read about that in Isaiah 24? Right, let's get back there. Right? Isaiah 24:19. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. Now, if a 6.2 magnitude earthquake can do that in Istanbul, what do you think that the impact of the nuclear missiles is going to do? Fuck a coffee shop moving side to side. What about big ass skyscrapers, man? Just toppling and falling like dominoes, man. No matter how strong you think the foundations of these buildings are, the Lord is gonna topple, these major cities, especially America. You know, because the impact is gonna shake the whole earth. So you best believe these cities are gonna be impacted. You know. First Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Yeah, you're in the coffee shop, right? As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. No escape for these people, man. Alright? And may the Lord bring more doom, death, and destruction, and doom and gloom, to these major cities. Alright? Especially cities like this. Alright? Istanbul and America. And over here, London. May the Lord shake this place up, man. That's why we put curses on this man's kingdom. You know? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Abad Babal. Destroy Babylon. You know? Destroy the hopes and dreams and pride of these people and bring them to their knees, man, because the pride of these people needs to be brought to an end. Anyway, with that, look, just a quick news update. Earthquake in Istanbul. Alright. And more to come. Shalom.